Well, hello, friends. It's Clint, and welcome to Sweetcast. I have something to say today. And actually, as I got thinking about this, kind of had a lot of fun preparing this video in a few different ways. Let me give you some context here. I looked on Twitter. Chad Townsend, a comic book artist, said, if I were to open a comic shop today, subscriptions get a discount and their credit card is on file and charged when their books come in. No ifs, ands, or buts. So as I kind of got thinking about that, I'm like, yeah, actually, the current comic book shop is antiquated in a lot of ways. And I think that just maybe, if a comic book shop were to change all of the outdated parts of its business model, it could actually hang on to the parts that it loves that are antiquated, which are the print medium of comic books. Let me explain how. Before I do, though, check out Downcast Volume 4 Hunting Ground. The pre-launch page is live on Indiegogo right now. It's in the link in the description below. This book is going to knock your socks off. I'm really excited about it. The latest installment, book 4 of Downcast, pretty awesome. I've got some artwork here showed off from Eric Weathers' chapter. He did chapter 2 in it. The rest of the work, Nacho Lazaro is back doing it. I'm really excited about it, and I have some fun incentives. More on that later. All right. So here's the thing. I was talking to a business owner about, comic books, and it was kind of funny because there's a reason why you get business owners together that are from different industries and they talk, and that's because there are certain truths in business and the way that people think and the way that transactions work that are universal. It doesn't matter what kind of business you're in, what specific industry. There are some things that just transcend industries and some things that are specific to it. But one thing is that in comics, there tends to be this mindset that's super rigid and it sticks to, hey, this is the way things have always worked, even though they haven't. Things have changed over time. Remember, comics used to be sold on newsstands. Then they went to comic book shops. Now it's like, I don't know, flip a coin. It could be anywhere. But there are some current problems with the way that comic book shops are run. And I think a lot of it is just this desperate clinging on to the way things used to be, so to speak. And if you could change some of those things, this is what you change. Now I realize right now I'm being an armchair quarterback, and I don't own a comic book shop, but I do think it's kind of interesting to sort of apply some of these things. All right, so I want to talk about pull lists specifically, which is what Chad brought up. And pull lists here, this is an article published in 2022, February, not even a year ago, and it's explaining why you should have a pull list, because sometimes you go to the comic book shop and the book you want isn't there. And so you're going to ask the comic book shop to save you a copy. Okay, well, that sounds all nice and dandy, and it makes things just slightly more convenient for you as the customer, but then it presents some major problems to the business, at least the way a lot of comic book shops run their business right now, and that is they'll put your book on a pull list. They're so desperate for your money. They will put it on the pull list. They will set it aside, and you can either come in and get those books, or you can leave. Or you could just never come back. And whether it's another issue, 2, 3 issues, 4 or 5 issues, I've heard horror stories of tons of issues being pulled by a comic book shop, and then they can't resell those issues because they're waiting for this person to come pick up their stuff. That person never comes, or when they do, they say, I changed my mind. This is a massive problem, and it's actually not convenient for a customer as well. I was just thinking of my own local comic shop. I do have a pull list there, but if I need to go get some books, I just have to either call in, I have to go in to see what's there. I'm not going to sit and check all the time when the next issue is coming out, especially these days when comic book issues, series will be canceled or postponed. So you can't just come in once a month and pick up your stuff. And depending on how many things you have on your pull list, but it's very unreliable. So I think Chad Townsend in this case is onto something, and what I want to see actually is the pull list get leveled up to something that's a little bit more current. So let me show you this first. This is a little old for data, 2020. And this was when COVID hit and everybody was talking about digital comic sales. And this was going to be it for print media, print comics. I don't think that's quite the case, but I think it was the death of inconvenience. I think that's part of it. And the theater industry, I think, is seeing part of that. But something you notice about comics is that there's still this strong, collector mentality when it comes to comics. And while, there are a lot of people that read digital comics, if your goal is to sell print comics, there is still a strong, core group of people that prefer print comics. It's a little different than novels, right? I mean, most people that are getting novels, you read it on an airplane, you read it wherever. It's more of just portable entertainment and, disposable in some cases. And you could just move over to the digital format and that's just fine. But when it comes to comic books, people want to see that artwork. Sometimes they want to see it big. Sometimes they want to see it in print. They want to smell it. They, any number of reasons why they want it in a print format. So here are a few of my suggestions. Maybe it doesn't have anything to do with digital. It has everything to do with convenience. And I looked up this website here that shows subscription model business and why subscription model businesses are fantastic. Now I get it. I get sick of subscription models for a lot of things. I already have too many streaming services just so I have access to entertainment. And before you say thing, I know you're going to say, well, Comixology, Marvel Unlimited, there are all of these subscription-based services for digital comics. But there's the kicker. There's the difference. They are digital comics rather than physical books. There's no reason why physical books couldn't adopt this kind of model. And I think I have a few prescriptions of how this could work, again, from my armchair. But let me look at this video. I'll share this with you for a moment. Bear with me.
About 10 years ago, the author started working with Netflix and fell in love with its subscription model, which was disruptive at the time and led to the bankruptcy of movie rental store chains. Since then, she has gone on to advise dozens of companies on their subscription and community businesses and believes that the membership economy is the equivalent of the modern age industrial revolution. First, we need to define the term membership economy and why we should care. Then, we can clarify what the impending transition from ownership to membership entails.
All right, let me stop you there for a moment. So often you'll think of Netflix putting out, Blockbuster, you're putting them out of business, and you'll say, well, it's because you could just stream the videos. But the way that this is presented by the author of this book, The Membership Economy, Robbie Kelman Baxter, it's not really about streaming, it's about subscription. So you're actually paying for membership, you're paying for access rather than ownership. Okay, so how does that translate to comic books, or how could it translate to comic books? Well, here's one example, I think, of how it could work. Most local comic shops have terrible websites. They're very antiquated. It doesn't make a lot of sense. You got to go in person, you got to make a phone call, and maybe there's some element of trying to preserve, that comic book shop of yesteryear. I don't know, and I can't really tell you the exact reason, but there's something there. Well, let's say that you make it sort of a hybrid business model. Somebody wants something on their pull list. They can get that thing put on their pull list in person or online. I know there's I forget the name of that one service that you can do online, and it supposedly will connect you to every local comic book shops. It's really goofy, and I don't really know many people that actually use it. But if you are the comic book shop, don't wait for a company to come in and save the day that way. You've got customers coming into your shop. They're customers. So what you got to do is make it as convenient for them as possible. So they can put stuff on their pull list online. Yes, and that means updating weekly what's on the horizon, however far ahead you need to order it. Put them on their pull list, and then they pay for it. Now, depending on how many titles, you could actually give them some kind of a discount. And this is where sort of the next element comes in here. my local comic book shop, it doesn't matter what you get. You're getting cover price. It's bagged and boarded, which is nice, but everything's cover price, and that's just the way that it is. There is no incentive for me to get more books. So here are a few incentives. Okay, there's economic incentives. So this could be a discount, or if you put 4 books on your pull list, you're going to get, I don't know, $1 off or something like that. Like, it's going to scale, and it's going to make more sense the more books that you get regularly. Obviously, you got to have a cancellation policy, yada, yada, yada. You understand what I mean, but you're basically building it out like one of these subscription services. And the other thing you can do is actually add add-ons. And so if you don't want to come in and buy your stuff, you don't want to come in and pick it up, you've paid for it, you don't want to pick it up, well, you can actually have an add-on, and they could send you an email. All this can be automated. That's the easiest part. Automatic email comes after a certain, set period of time and says, hey, you have books on your pull list, come pick them up. Or you know what, for only, $5, we'll send you the whole lot of books right now that you paid for. Otherwise, you can donate them back to us, and we'll sell them elsewhere. It's such an easy thing to fix. And, if you're a customer that just wants to go in and buy a book, you can still do that. But I don't know, I'm not seeing many comic book shops that are making this whole process streamlined and automated. So on to another incentive, there's social incentives. So one argument you could say is that comic book shops are suffering because why would you buy a comic book from your local comic shop when you could just buy it online? Many places, including eBay. You can just buy it wherever online and get it shipped to you. Why would you choose your local comic book shop? Well, why would you choose to back a crowdfunded campaign for a book versus buy a book literally anywhere else? And that's because you have some kind of rapport with the publisher or the creator of that book. The same thing can absolutely happen. If people that are getting on the pull list, and part of the way that your policy works is that you're sending out some kind of email or text notification when new books are coming in, right? That's exactly where you can tell them where new stuff is, and you can help people build a connection to the shop. Again, from my armchair, it seems like this is the way to go. Yeah, a lot of work, and I respect that. It would definitely be a lot of work, especially if you're not used to doing anything that way. But I would guarantee you're gonna sell more books. And from crowdfunding, I can tell you add-ons are a big deal. They matter quite a lot. They will change things because people are encouraged to buy more. They're incentivized. There's a social incentive. And then there's moral incentives, right? You could go down that trail as well. So the other thing is that if you have, let's say, all I'm going to be selling are the big titles, Spider-Man and Batman. And beyond that, it's going to be really difficult for people to buy indie books or, try out some of these smaller publishers or smaller creators. How do you fix that? Well, libraries actually are doing an okay job at this, or at least libraries around here. They're incentivizing people to read books and review them. And again, it could be the same thing. Hey, we have a selection of indie comic books. We want to know what you think about them. Have people write reviews, have people vote on the best book, and you're going to pick, a variety of books, and those books by merit alone will get upvoted or downvoted or whatever. And pretty soon you have your own customers recommending or not recommending books to other customers. And again, you can incentivize these customers that if they vote on these, whatever spread of books you have, they get something. Maybe they get a free book, they get a discount. I mean, I don't know. Heaven forbid, I say, they then get access to getting some book, special variant cover or something like that. They already exist anyway, so can't be too upset about that. There's so many things you could do, but when it comes down to it, I think customers have less incentive right now to go to comic book shops because it's already inconvenient because you're going to a brick and mortar store. Sometimes you gotta, the whole pull list, antiquated pull list system, it makes it even less convenient for a lot of customers for a lot of reasons because again, books are not as coming out at on time like they used to, depending on what kind of books that you're getting. I remember the whole Last Ronin series, every single issue was late. So I never knew when to go get the next one because it was going to be late for certain. So honestly, in my heart of hearts, I believe that implementing a few of these things, yeah, you'd have to get some software in place, but it's not crazy. It's not anything that doesn't already exist. It would take some automation with some, I think, SMS messaging, texts, email, and just informing and educating your customers that you have this new system. You can, yes, full circle here, incentivize them by giving them a discount. If they join the pull list, they're charged immediately at a discount. And I know that seems like a hard pill to swallow, perhaps, if you're trying to get by, but the goal is to build customers that are a member now. They've bought into your organization in order to get access to what you have. And what you have is imprint comic books. Now, I don't have all the answers, but I'm sure you do. So please do let me know in the comments below what you think about some of these harebrained ideas. They're not, really, I don't think any of this is particularly new. I just haven't really seen it effectively implemented in a comic book shop. And if you did, I think there would be some pretty hefty rewards for doing so. So check out Downcast 4 Hunting Ground. Join the pre-launch page. I'm actually going to be doing some fun stuff leading up to it, including, it is called Hunting Ground. So there's going to be some kind of scavenger hunt. I think you're going to enjoy being a part of it. So do check it out. Sign up. I appreciate you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.